Good Sunday morning, everybody. This video is a rebuttal to a polite rebuttal, because he's a good guy, to Russell Brand's video titled, When They Don't Love You Back. Now, just like everyone else on YouTube, I scroll through my newsfeed, and you ignore so much, and then you see something, and you're like, oh, I'd be interested to hear Russell Brand's take on the romantic situation when they don't love you back. I know the poor guy's had some very public breakups. He's very open about his history of addiction, and he doesn't try and hide his fevered ego. He's very conscious of why he is the way he is, and he tries to tame that. And he has become a lot calmer as he matures and ages. A little bit like myself. How do I start this? Okay, let's just dive right in. In his 10-minute video, When They Don't Love You Back, he goes into how to cope and how to deal with the inevitable heartbreak that everyone feels. Life is hard, relationships don't always work out, and he has almost a guide, a manifesto for how to let go and to not suffer and to get over this person that you were. And this is a word Russell Brand uses in his video. He says you need to get over the deification. It comes from the Latin deus. It means God. So when you deify your partner, your love interest, the girl that you want, then you do yourself a disservice, according to Russell Brand. So I think it's important when you disagree with something, watch it to the end, watch the whole thing. So then if you do want to get involved in the conversation, you can actually respect the guy and come at each point. So another thing, so alongside that deification, making the object of your affection, of your desire, of your lust or your love, your want into God, he says that's a surefire way to cause yourself a lot of pain. He also talks a lot about how in the past he would have deep, profound romantic feelings for ladies. And then he very calmly talks about his marriage now. He's got children. He's in a domestic situation. And he said something very interesting. He says, I don't view her as this like, oh my God, I need to be with you. He says that she is someone with her own consciousness, running a parallel life to him. Those are the exact words he uses. Living in the same household. An individual running a parallel life, living in the same household with mutual interests. And he washes the situation so it's squeaky clean, so that it's not messy. Now, I've been feeling like this about this sort of advice for a long time now, and we should always take advice with a massive pinch of salt, the kind of big pinch that the sumo wrestlers do, which shoulder is it? Right shoulder, you throw the salt, big pinch, hey, molto bene bambino. I want to offer an alternative. It's 4 minutes into my video, so it's time for me to say, whenever you see someone talking negatively about human passions and emotions and how they're going to hurt you, sometimes that person may have become a spiritual egoist. They are certainly a spiritual utopian. They take a generalized pessimistic metaphysics of the universe, of existence, whereas I'll come on to my optimism about metaphysics and the universe. Now, what do I mean by pessimism at the universe? Buddhists, one of the main tenets of Buddhism is that life is suffering. And no one will disagree that life contains suffering. But I don't believe that life is suffering. That way lies antinatalism. That way lies genocide. That way lies allowing your soldiers to become kamikaze pilots, asking them to kill themselves. Sorry, shouldn't. There's spiritual egoism is closely associated with spiritual utopianism. Now, a very quick explanation. Utopia is a political, philosophical idea that there is a perfect society, a Shangri-La, a Zion, a promised land, somewhere that if we just get over that hill, just around the next corner, we're so close. Utopia. And spiritual utopians will, and when you watch them closely, they're trying to convince themselves, because life can be very painful. Life isn't suffering, life contains suffering. But life is so much bigger than the concept of suffering or the feeling of suffering. Life is so much more vast. Russell Brand describes in this video how you don't need to suffer. You don't need to have heartbreak. You don't need to have those feelings of insecurity or not being good enough for the other person. He says, look, take my magic pill of letting go. Take my magic pill of Buddhism. Take my magic pill of realizing what you really are, and then these emotions won't affect you as deeply. Russell Brand's wrong. A lot of people who speak in this way are wrong. You can see it manifest in aggressive ways. I'll give you an example. Many years ago on Facebook, someone that I'd hung out with briefly wrote to me. And I've got a rule, that people that I meet in real life, especially if I met them in multiple occasions in real life and they write to me, I'll prioritize those messages and I'll write back, because these are real life people. We all get mail, people that you've not met on the internet, and I read everything, but I can't reply. I don't have time to reply. So this guy, he's, hey Charlie, how are you? I said, oh, I'm very well, but I'm quite upset that one of my close friends, I don't think he's treating me with respect. I don't think he's making me feel like a good friend. There's some sort of weird energy between us. And this guy, quick as a flash, he's like, Charlie, you manifested that. You wanted that to happen. What's wrong inside you for your friend to start doing this to you? It's all a game, and you wanted it to happen. And I was scratching my head. It was a lot fuller back then. The hair was so much fuller back then. Scratching my nice hairy head many years ago. Going, what's going on here? And it's the cop-out of Buddhism. It's the inability to accept reality for what it is, to think that maybe this is the self-resolving paradox of the universe, and it can be very painful at times. There's no escaping that, because man is at once the sculptor and the sculpture. You cannot change, you cannot grow, you cannot improve without hacking pieces of marble that were attached to you off. The spiritual utopianism that we see everywhere is that, oh, if only you meditated a bit more, you'd be perfect. If only you read the right books, you'd be perfect. If only you knew how to let go of these emotions and these passions, you'd be perfect. If only you could know what I know and subscribe for $7.99 a month, and you will be in the Church of the Holy Order for the rest of your life. I'm sorry to say this. This is an offshoot. We've got this kind of like neo-new age. It's not quite new age. It's not age of Aquarius and peace and love and hugging trees. We have this neo-new age. It's like an offshoot of self-helpery from the late 90s, which now I see it as it's almost like an Opus Dei Catholic cult masochism. Like, whip myself. I'm not good enough. I'm not spiritual enough. I'm not perfect. She left me because I wasn't good. I'm with the Zen Buddhists. I'm sorry. I go where the intuition leads. I go where things feel correct. I try and act logically like water. You see those fractals that we all admire when you're taking your hallucinogens? You're like, wow, fractals. Well, that's just efficiency and motion within a chaotic environment. Russell Brand, there is no way round the painful emotions of losing someone. There is no escaping the grief and the self-doubt and the self-hatred when you love someone and they don't love you back. To try and say that there's an ability to create an armor in yourself whilst at the same time giving yourself fully to that other person where it doesn't hurt because you're so spiritual when it ends is a lie, Russell. I know you're not, sorry, too strong a word. You're not lying. You're stuck in confirmation bias and wishful thinking. Wishful thinking is a very great thing and it's important. But when you try and use it as argument, then it enters the realm of gobbledygook. Wishful thinking is an essential component of hope, and hope makes the impossible possible. But I don't want to see this self-flagellation. I don't want to see this masochism. I don't want people to think that the miracle is just around the corner and that we are inherently bad and that we're tainted and broken. Real guilt offshoot from old, strange, guilty Catholic ideas. Sin. This modern neo-New Age spiritual utopianism that... let me try and give you another example. Again, another in real life conversation with a friend. And the friend says to me, I've watched your YouTube. Maybe not necessarily a fan, but I am your friend. And Charlie, you're selling yourself low. You're down here and you should be up here. Your concepts are weak. Your brow is neither low brow, it's not high brow, you're medium brow, Charlie, and you could be so much more. And then I crack a joke, I to try and break the ice. I said, oh, talent is so much sexier when it's wasted. Or it's a line from a Don DeLillo book called Cosmopolis that I stole. But as my friend was giving me this advice, I was just looking at them, going, do you think maybe you're projecting your need for utopia onto me? And that there's you see, why are you looking at my life and seeing wasted opportunity? I'm doing my best here. Why this? And people do it automatically. And in Russell Brand's video, it concludes with, he talks at length. He doesn't realize, he's saying, look, you need to see that the person isn't what you thought they were, that they're just a piece of shit human, that all the issues are inside you. And I want to end this video and just bring up, it's been unfortunately tainted by a lot of idiots and neo-pagans and people that talk about Europa. But Oswald Spengler, a great German he was a writer, I don't know, he's a historian, he's a literary bloody polemicist, a bit of both. Oswald Spengler came up with what's called the Faustian spirit. And I think the Faustian spirit is a lot closer to what we are as human beings, rather than the whipping myself. Oh, I'm too attached to life, no wonder I'm suffering. Oh, I should just be, I should be unattached, just be aloof, not get involved. I want you to get involved. I want you to be like that. Was it Ulysses? Tied himself to the fucking ship so he could hear the sirens call without going mad. I want you to tell the girl or the man or whoever who you like that you like them. Don't waste time. What are we waiting for? Ask them out for a drink. Do anything. Don't waste your time. And when they eventually dump you, when you eventually dump them, does it make the beauty of it whilst it lasted any more precious? No. When a star goes supernova out in the galaxy and then after a few light years there's nothing there, does that nothingness at the end make the brightness of the star and the explosion of it any less spectacular? No, it doesn't. So stop with this guilt. Stop with this need for everything to be spiritually perfect. I've got a secret for you, Russell, and you've forgotten. Is that the miracle has already happened a while ago. We're playing out the miracle. Everyone's already spiritually perfect and pure. Even the bad people. They're playing their part in the great cosmic wedding cake of superposition and quantum probability. So my little Cockney Russell Brand, I have to admit, I am slightly jealous that you've made a massive success. I'm going Australian now. Russell Brand's done a great thing, and he has financially succeeded where I have failed, and he is very well known where I am not. So I'm very aware that my criticism is obviously tainted with elements of my own inferiority complex, and looking at the big famous Russell Brand, who has made a very big success of his life, and escaping his addictions when he was much younger is probably a harder thing than anything I've had to do. So I come with respect, and I just want to say, guys, that listen to Alan Watts and Zen Buddhism. There's a book called The Taboo Against Knowing Who You Really Are, written by Alan Watts. And that way lies the truth. The miracle, we're already living the miracle. There's no utopia around the corner. There is no spiritual level you need to get to before you can let go of all pain. You're going to suffer, you're going to feel pain, but you're going to love, you're going to laugh, you're going to have family, you're going to see examples of people's kindness that will fill your eyes with tears. And that compassion will fuck you up for days because it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. So don't say life is suffering. Don't try and tell people that, oh, if you read the right books or if you got over yourself, there's no escaping the pain. There's no escaping it. Tie me to the fucking sailing mast and let me hear that song. I'm a human being and so are you, goddammit, and we can take it. This is Charlie Veitch, Sunday the 3rd of October. I now need to get to the city, so thanks for listening.